people on earth are not pro athletes and all this. They're actually entrepreneurs. Guys like Steve Jobs, multi-billionaire, Zuckerberg of Facebook, Branson of Virgin, Walt Disney, Henry Ford. Those are the richest people on earth. And so the question is, why aren't more people up there? So we're going to find out what it takes to start a business and to grow a business and go through the growing pains. But as you know, the one rant that I have at Rich Dad is that our schools teach us to be employees. Go to school and get a job. Well, an employee and an entrepreneur are almost opposite ends of the coin. There's three sides to a coin. One's heads, one's tails, and one's the edge. And one of the things that really gets my goat, which is a lot of things, but is when people don't practice what they preach. Like I won't mention their names, but many people in my same genre of business, they're up there talking about being an investors and all this stuff. And these guys are mutual fund buyers. I mean, they make me nauseous. Nothing wrong with mutual funds, but don't tell me you're an investor and you're investing in mutual funds. That's like telling me you're a pro golfer and you play putt-putt golf. Give me a break here. So the one thing about Rich Dad is that when we first started the company 20 years ago this year, our first partner wanted to put in 401ks. And my guts curled over. I said, how can I talk about being a professional entrepreneur, professional investor, and have our whole company be on this 401k, in my opinion, the greatest scam ever perpetrated on Americans. And just recently, the start of this year, 2017, the guys that started the 401k admitted it's a complete failure. It's ripping. It's a failure because it's not doing what it's designed to do. It's actually designed to rip off the employee and the employer. So the Wall Street just collects all the money via fees, and there's very little returns. The worst thing about a 401k, I want to say, there's no insurance. Mm-hmm. If the market crashes, you're out of luck, man. You're toast. So the one thing about Rich Dad is we walk the talk, and we encourage people to be either professional investors or to be entrepreneurs. Now, in many companies, I've seen it happen before. The person walks by, the boss walks by, and everybody hides their screen because they're either watching something or something they shouldn't be doing, or they're doing a business, or they're texting. I know we all know that goes on. So rather than do that, we encourage all of our workers, all of our employees, all of our team members here to be entrepreneurs and professional investors. And it's okay to talk about your business and all this. It's encouraged. Where in other companies, you might get fired. So anyway, we have some real life, walk the talk, people that work for Rich Dad, and they're going to be talking their success stories, their failures, their things, and what it's like to work for a company that's encouraged them to start their own business so they can leave the company. Now, we don't want them to leave, obviously, because they're great people. But it would be hypocritical and, just not walking the talk on my part to tell everybody to be business people, but then tell the people that work with us, you don't do that, though. That's hypocritical on my part. So today we have three different groups of people, and they'll be talking about what they're doing it, why they're doing it, and what they're learning. So the question is today, do you have what it takes to grow your business into a big business or even just start a business? Because the failure rate among small entrepreneurs is 9 out of 10 are bust within 5 years. And of that one that survives the first 5 years, guess how many survive the next 5 years? Again, 1 out of 10 only. And I've been part of that statistic. I started several businesses, fell down, fell down. And finally, when I got through my first 10-year mark, I went, holy moly, I made it, So it's not easy. So we're going to hear from some real people that work with us. So first of all, we have Sarah, and Sarah's company is Blah Blah LLC. I think that's absolutely brilliant. And our next person is Ryan. His name of his business is Titan Gear Online. So let's start with Sarah. Sarah, what is your business? And first, give us a little bit of background, what you do at Rich Dad, and how long have you been here?
Yeah, so I started with Rich Dad team about 1.5 years ago, writing,
yes,
doing blogs, emails, ebooks.
You're a social media site,
and also through our social media site. So my job is to communicate our message to the community, to everybody that follows us. Prior to joining Rich Dad, though, I was in marketing. And speaking of, companies that discourage entrepreneurship, when I started with my previous company, I had to sign and you can't have a business outside of
Yes.
this company.
Right.
So the culture shift when I got here to entrepreneurship is encouraged was awesome. It's a sense of freedom, really.
Right.
And to be among other entrepreneurs gives you a different confidence.
Right.
It gives you a confidence like, I could totally start my own business. And so writing here then turned into wanting to write for other small businesses who are also starting. They need that person that can write an ebook. They need that person that can start blogging for them. And so my skill set here translated very easily into starting something of my own.
Good. And the whole company supports you, right?
Yeah. Oh, and that's the other best thing about working here is because we all are of the entrepreneur mindset. We're here to support each other, not only within the company, but outside. Like each of us have all worked with each other outside of Rich Dad on projects because we know we like each other. So that's the great thing. And then we know that we're all skilled in what we do. So we trust each other.
Right, and the esprit de corps is stronger, right? The teamwork, the camaraderie is stronger.
Absolutely.
Right.
And Sarah touched on the key point, which is trust. We trust the group that we're working with,
So
inside
Ryan,
and outside.
Yeah, Ryan, you've been with us for a while. What's it been like for you? What do you do?
So I've been with Rich Dad now for 8 years.
Wow.
And so, yeah.
Time flies.
It flies.
Yeah.
And I always started with the company in 2008, and I've been in marketing the whole time, worked in pretty much every role here, email, web design, coding, some copywriting as well, strategy, supervising, all that kind of stuff. So it's really been every aspect of marketing. And as Sarah touched on, it's the team. I've used Sarah for copywriting for some of my outside client work as well. I've used David Bird, who's going to be joining us in the next segment, I believe, for some designing. So yeah, we got a great team here. We all trust each other, all work very hard, and it's proof's in the pudding.
Right, and you guys go 24/7. From what
all the time.
I'm the lazy one on the group here, but I see you guys here all the time, just busting your butt. So,
and that's the great thing with technology is it's outside of the office as well. Right. It's on the weekends. It's 24/7.
Right, and you guys are in communication
all the time.
All the time. So, what is the name of your business?
So, Titan Gear Online. That started out of back in 2014.
Right. One of the perks, we don't have a 401k, but what Rich Dad has, they have access not only to my personal advisors, but also to all our courses. You can go and take them
Absolutely.
And all this, which we encourage people to do. So we practice the talk.
Absolutely. Yeah. So. And it's funny speaking to people about that. There's no 401k, no retirement plan, and it's a completely different mindset. Explaining to them, you're right. But the opportunities to start my own business where it's on me, it's not on stockbrokers or mutual funds. It's on me whether or not I'm a success or not. You're not going to find that every place, as Sarah alluded to earlier.
And I'm excited. We have a real estate course coming up this spring, and I am over the moon about this.
Amen.
Yes.
Amen.
Because so I'm getting married in May. And
all right.
I am hoping my future husband is excited about it as I am, but I want to start dipping my toes in real estate investing.
Well, that's very important because most of my money is real estate, and that's why I don't need a job, is I have real estate.
Right.
So I'm really glad to hear that. Real estate it's tough. To get good, you have to really be good.
Yeah.
But once you understand the game, it's fantastic.
Well, and that's the great thing about working here is not only do I have access to your knowledge and all your information, but we have all of our, friends of Rich Dad who are willing to share that information with us. And so it's just the benefits trade-off of like the traditional 401k or traditional benefits. You can't quantify that. You can't even compete with that information that we get here.
No, and when I truthfully, 20 years ago this year, when I had a discussion with my former partner, she's going, they got to have a 401k. No, don't let them do that. I'm going, well, what are we afraid of? As a company, what is the culture of this company if we tell everybody else to do it, but we don't do it? Mm-hmm. So you've taken a lot of courses, right, Ryan?
Absolutely.
What are some of the courses you've taken that have been available to you?
Oh, wow. Well, as actually Anik, who I believe is going to be on later, was the how to start an online business through a digital product. So developing your own ebooks, your own online courses.
The leverage of online is staggering.
And speaking of real estate, that's the great thing about digital is it's limitless. There's no physical anything. It's whatever you want to do. You just have to be willing to put in the time.
You know, a lot of people say, I don't have money. How did you handle that one personally?
That's interesting. So it was one of my other businesses, my online marketing consulting. So I have clients outside of work that because I work at Rich Dad, I'm able to get outside clients that I was able to gather some money, gather some funds, and use that as the down payment for my products. And so otherwise if it was just my day job, it'd take a while for me to get
if I
that kind of
said
money.
you can't do anything outside this company at the signing agreement and you're fired if you do, it would handcuff you, right?
It'd take a lot longer.
It would take longer, but it would be, okay, is this really the type of place where I want to work? Because I've worked there before. It's handcuff. I mean, you're stuck.
Right. Mm-hmm. So, Sarah, what specifically are you selling out there? What is your product?
It's my services. It's my words. And so that's where I'm in a different position than Ryan, who has a physical product. I don't require money to start out.
Amen. That's the ultimate goal of working here. Mm-hmm. Is someday you'll get to the point where you go, Jesus, I don't need money, you know? So anyway, I want to thank you guys. It's really a pleasure having you guys. I'm proud of all of you. I just keep going. Have you guys made some mistakes?
Oh,
geez.
And so enjoyed. And you can listen to this podcast again at your time and your schedule because all of our programs are archived. So just go to richdadradio.com, listen to this program again because you'll pick up, several more interesting things that you might have missed the first time around. And if you have friends or business partners, you might want to have them listen to this program again. So our next guest, I want to thank Sarah and Ryan, people that work with Rich Dad. They're fantastic young people. Our next guest is Anik Singal. He's not really part of Rich Dad. He's like a partner with Rich Dad. He's one of our instructors. He's a fantastic instructor. He is the CEO and founder of Learn Inc., Lurinc, and is author of The Circle of Profit, How to Turn Your Passion into $1 Million. So Anik is the person that teaches anybody who's associated with Rich Dad. We have online programs to teach them how to be entrepreneurs on the World Wide Web, which is the future. I'm the old guy, so I know nothing about it. I barely use my cell phone. But anyway, we're going to have Anik, and he's a fantastic teacher. He's taught many, many people to let go of their jobs and go on to becoming free human beings. So welcome to the program, Anik.
Thank you so much, Robert. It's an absolute honor and a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, please, your background is fantastic, so please give us a little bit of your background.
Sure. Well, I started 15 years ago. Robert, my first book I ever picked up, guess what? Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Very smart,
I was
very
in
smart.
high school. Yeah, it changed my life, and I don't just say that because you're here. I mean it. It really, I was in that place early in my life where I was wondering, what is with the big difference? Why do some of my family members and friends drive such nice cars, live such great lives, and why do others not? And so I started a journey to seek the answer to that very young. Rich Dad, Poor Dad was one of the first books I picked up because it really, the title of it alone encapsulated the problem I was seeing. And from there was when I realized entrepreneurship was what I was supposed to do. Now, I come from an Indian background where, a professional job is the route to go. And I struggled a lot. I faced a lot of challenges making the change into entrepreneurship because I had never been an entrepreneur before and never had any connection to anyone who was an entrepreneur. And so I really started that journey early, had no guidance, no one to show me, but I struggled 18 months. I really put in every effort. And finally, I started to have those little breakthroughs, those small wins that get you there. And those small wins quickly became bigger and bigger and bigger. And, and even once I started winning, there were some major obstacles of the economy and the business failing and debt. But I'll tell you, no matter what happened, the fact that I could build a business on the internet, the best thing about that was that I started from my dorm room with $100 to my name. And today we talk about traditional businesses needing so much capital the biggest thing the World Wide Web has given us as entrepreneurs is the ability to build a business, a meaningful, impactful business that can scale to, infinite degree without needing much startup capital at all.
That's the best part. And you have, when I started off like 40, 50 years ago now, it took a lot of money to start a business. And I didn't have cell phones, and it just was horrible. I remember running through airports with pockets full of quarters, dialing for dollars, trying to make an appointment with a buyer in New York, and not getting through. There's no texting, with none of that. It was really hard.
Yep.
So it's so much easier to be a multimillionaire today, an entrepreneur. And I just don't know why more people aren't doing it, really. But I know the real reason is because they went to school. Their mommy and daddies have polluted their brains, saying you have to have a job. And if you have to have a job, it's like putting your brain in a cell, a jail cell. And the thing I like about you, Anik, is that you give people the keys to get out of that cell, to think differently. And that's why you were a great partner with Rich Dad. So let me ask you this. What kind of programs do you offer for Rich Dad, and how do you help people get out of the jail cell of employment?
Well, so our big mission is in the world of digital publishing. We love to bring other people's expertise and help them not only put it out there and distribute it all over the world and get their message out, but to create profit from that. And again, if we go back 10, 20 years ago, you had to go through a long process and hope that a publisher would take you on, publish your book at the best deal you could possibly get. You'd get 10%. There was just so many what ifs. Today, you take complete charge. You take complete control over your life, your knowledge, your message. And so we teach our students a variety of models, but the main one that we found is working so well is we teach them how to take information, wrap it into a simple structure, put it on the internet, and not only give away tremendous value and change people's lives in multiple areas, but to be able to create a profit from that as well. So we have discovered that there are billions of email addresses in the world. And what people don't realize is how much of a business they can build from the fact that people have email, and how you can reach consumers via email. And one of the things I always talk about is that, back 20 years ago, direct marketing required such a large budget to make an impact, right? If you wanted to print sales letters and send things to people's homes, well, today that's all free. So digital publishing, teaching people how to turn information into profit, all the way down to we train and teach coaches and consultants how to use the internet to get more leads, to get better quality leads, how to take their business international overnight, thanks to the internet. So we work with students who want.
So how do you
Yeah.
what programs do you offer through Rich Dad for that?
Inbox Blueprint is our number one best-selling product that teaches how to turn email into a business. And that would be the main one. And we've also written Circle of Profit, a book that you wrote the foreword to, which, we're very, very proud to have put out into the world. And that teaches exact process, step by step, how to turn digital publishing into a business.
So the book is The Circle of Profit, How to Turn Your Passion into $1 Million. Once again,
Yes.
This is the Rich Dad Radio Show, the good news and bad news about money. You can listen to the Rich Dad Radio Show anytime, anywhere, on iTunes or Android. You can listen to this podcast again at richdadradio.com. We archive all of our podcasts so that you can, because repetition is how we learn, and you can share it with your friends and family. Anik's website is Anik Singal, AnikSingal.com. And we're talking today about how the Rich Dad Company practices what they preach. We are an entrepreneurship company and a professional investment company. It means I don't invest in mutual funds, stocks, bonds, and IRAs. But we teach entrepreneurship as investors also. So, Anik, what would you say to somebody right now who's stuck in their job and going, what am I doing here? How do you unlock the door for them?
So the simplest thing I would say is, why are you not adding an entrepreneurial venture into your life? See, again, a lot of people believe it's either or. And, Robert, you proved it right with your team. It doesn't have to be either or. There was a day where building a business required a full-time effort, but it's not today. Because of the internet, you can follow simple systems and start to build your business while keeping the security that you need. That's what keeps us in the mindset, right? We need security. We need to make sure money is always coming in. Well, that's fine. Continue to do that. Build your business part-time until it replaces that income, and make that make that switch in a safe manner. And I think that's why people really need to turn to the internet, is because within an hour or two a day, you can truly start to build something that has mass impact and can replace your income very quickly in a very safe manner. So that's the biggest change.
And the biggest thing, as I can see, what you're doing, you can do in just minutes. Whereas before, in the old days, when I was starting out, we had to go to typesetting, we had to do, color separations and all this. It cost us fortunes just to mail stuff. And the cost and the flexibility and the change factor, how fast you can change and make corrections, is staggering. So every time I talk to some person who is going, I'm not making enough money and working hard, and I said, well, I don't know how, and these are young people, I don't know how they could be part of the digital age and not see it. I really don't know why they can't see it. Why is that, Anik? Why are so many young people complaining about being unemployed and not making enough money?
Same thing you said earlier, Robert. It's our schooling. It's not something we're introduced to. We are not meant to be entrepreneurs as far as the system is concerned. And so we as a company at Learn are fighting against, what is basically ingrained into the minds of people for decades and trying to introduce to them a new way of thinking. And although they might be a part of the digital age and they use Facebook and Pinterest and Instagram and all these social tools all day long, they don't realize that there's a whole other side to those tools that could actually give them the freedom that they're looking for. So it comes back to, again, as a society, not promoting that, hey, listen, there are other ways to build your future. And I come from that product, right? There was something that snapped within me early in my life that saved me, and Rich Dad Poor Dad was really what did it. And I think that we need to expose more of our youth to the fact that there is an alternate option. And I think once that happens, people will begin to know that their complaining is illegitimate because they have another option. It's just people are not aware of the option, so they resort to a victim mindset. It's easier to complain about your life than it is to take action to change it.
Yeah, and I think that's the problem. That one of the things I was coming in on my car with my car this morning, and this guy listed 10 things that millionaires do. I don't remember all of them, but one of them is very important. Is you have a mentor. I've had great mentors. You're a great mentor to many people. So the one thing I like to say to people there, who are your mentors? Who are your mentors? That was one of the most important things, what makes a person a millionaire. The second thing, too, was they study voraciously. You read the story of Mark Cuban, who's the Dallas Mavericks and all that stuff, a billionaire. He reads voraciously. The third thing is that they said that most millionaires are health fanatics. They work out constantly. And the fourth thing they said that was extremely important was, who are your friends? Who are your circle of friends? Who are the people you hang out with? So if you're hanging out with losers right now and you're not that healthy and all this stuff, I would check out becoming an entrepreneur, but that you might have to change a lot of things you do. Any final words on that, Anik?
Oh, no, I couldn't agree more. Being an entrepreneur is not just about owning a business. You're right. It's a completely different way of living.
That's nothing like that.
I laughed when you said, friend circle. My friend circle is small, very small, on purpose, by design, because I don't want to let
RichDadRadio.com, and the reason we archive them is so that you can listen to them again, because when you listen to them again, you pick up a couple more things like you never heard it before, and or you can share it with friends, family, and business partners. Because we're going to be talking about a very important subject about entrepreneurship today, and the subject is called partners in business. Being a partner in business is 10 times worse than being married to somebody sometimes. So that's why what you're going to be learning today is a very interesting discussion, because we have a new partnership formed today. And once again, the one thing about the Rich Dad Company is we encourage people to start their own businesses and be professional investors and take advantage of all the learning programs Rich Dad has. And it's just part of the perks. We don't have a 401k, and we don't believe in taking care of people. We encourage all of our employees to leave, which we don't want them to do, but it's better than telling them not to leave, which many companies do. So they're free here to study, get rich, and stay if they want to stay. We let them stay. But it's better than telling you have a good, safe career here, because that's a really stupid thing to say today in the uncertainty of the world. So our next guest here are Christina. She's my most valuable right-hand person. I don't know where I would be without Christina. She's the smartest person in our family, Kim, Christina, and I.
Wow, thank you.
She does more stuff. I keep telling her, I say, Christina, how can you be so smart? Because, she's much smarter than I am. Yet she works for me. I go, how could that be? But she's the best. And the other person is David, and they're both in new partnerships. And their name of their business is called Artemis, Artemis Trade Goods. And they'll be talking about what their business is, how they got into business, and they both work for the Rich Dad Company. So let's start with Christina. Give us a little background, where you're from, and how long you've been Rich Dad.
Well, first of all, thank you for that compliment.
I tell you that all the time.
If
I was half as smart as you, I'd be dangerous.
That's very true. We would not be able to work together. So I am originally from Sweden and been
the
here.
The same town where my Kim's parents grandparents are from.
So I have been here in the U.S. now for the second time around. I've been here for 16 years. I became a citizen about 2 years ago. So I'm now officially an American.
Trump can't track you down then.
Trump cannot track me down. Not anymore. Not for that reason. Maybe for other reasons, but not for that reason. And then, being with you and Kim for the last 12 years, it's like going to school every day. And you always learn something new. And then here at the Rich Dad office, the partnerships that we do. So online business has been very attractive to me because you don't have to necessarily have inventory. I started with eBay. I did really great with eBay, selling shoes on eBay, which was a blast. Still do that on my spare time. And then
you're learning a lot. No matter what you sell, you're learning a lot, right?
Every day.
As I said, Rich, it has nothing to do with the product.
No.
It's
no,
what you learn.
not at all. Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
So it just came about. I was driving around town one day and realized that the pride that people show from being from a certain town, certain country, certain states is very, very prominent here in the United States. And being from Sweden, I realized we don't really have that in Sweden or anywhere in Europe.
Yeah, people are proud they're from San Francisco.
Yes, correct. Okay. So I had this idea in my head, and then we have a genius here at the office, David, who is a graphic designer. And I approached him and said, hey, can you do this design for me that I have in my head? And then David, as he is, he's genius. So he realized this is a bigger thing than I could even imagine. So he says, hey, do you want to partner up? And I thought, perfect. I'd love to partner up. So first of all, he has some skin in the game and not just being a contractor, so to say, with me, but he was actually a partner. So he took the leap of faith and became a partner with me, which is
what's your product now?
So what we do is part of it. What we do is we do apparel. So T-shirts, hoodies, cell phone cases is something else that we do. Pillowcases with the statement, very, very clean lines. And David can actually touch on this better because he's the graphic designer. But it's called local-centric apparel is that's what we're doing. And it's just showing the pride of what city you're from or what country you're from or what state you're from.
You'd have like a San Francisco T-shirt?
We are actually doing it based in Europe, meaning we're doing most of the countries in Europe. We're not doing the United States because that already exists. So we are taking it. So we launched with Sweden, Denmark, Norway, and Finland, and then we're going to take the rest of Europe and go from there. But since it didn't exist in Europe, that's where we went. So that's what we're doing. So we're taking the European countries.
Good. So, David, what's your background? And you're relatively new to the company, right?
Yes. I've only been there about a year. So
what's your experience of working here where people are allowed to have businesses and all that?
Yeah, I've never encountered anything like it before. Kind of speaking to what you said before, where it's discouraged at most places that you work at. You don't really have the opportunity to do anything outside of your typical 9 to 5. This is something where you really have an opportunity to work on your ideas, while you're at work. And the entrepreneurial spirit is really promoted as something, that you should pursue. So it's very encouraging, and it kind of, keeps your spirit up. And it makes it very easy to kind of have an entrepreneurial mindset.
You're not hiding anything either, right?
No, not at all. No, I mean, I think that definitely helps.
In fact, I'd probably jump on it if you weren't doing something.
Yeah, it definitely feels good that it's encouraged.
Where are you from?
I'm originally from Chicago. My dad was in the military, so we kind of traveled around a lot, but I spent the majority of my time in Chicago. We moved here to Phoenix about 3.5 years ago.
So what is your business, and how do you contribute to this partnership with you and Christina?
So I'm kind of the brand builder, I guess you would say. I take care of all the design. So like she was saying before, any of the apparel that we do, I take care of all the designs for that. Build out the website, any of the promotional graphics, things like that. And then we'll also have kind of a home goods side to the business. So stuff for your living room, bedrooms, things like that. So I kind of the creative director of the concept.
And so how's the partnership working so far? I mean, do you have a partnership?
Oh, he loves me.
Do you have a partnership agreement?
Yes, we do.
Do you have a buy-sell agreement?
Yes, we do.
Do you have
We got Garrett Sutton involved in all this.
Oh, good. So Richard Advisor.
Yes.
How about the money part? How's the split go?
Well, so far we have not done money, meaning we haven't had any. It's been time. We have not because we don't have inventory. We do print on demand. So the money part has not been. It has not been an issue so far. When the money starts coming in, we have an agreement for that.
Okay. So you're not financing inventory.
No.
Good. And that was one of the important things, we
yeah.
found, especially with apparel. It's you don't know what's going to sell and what's not. So it's difficult.
So the great thing about the web is you don't have to have inventory then.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's brilliant.
It's awesome.
Because I was in the rock and roll business, and we had to have a lot of inventory, like so many Duran Duran, Judas Priest, Van Halen, Boy George, and if they didn't sell, we ate it.
Yeah.
It was horrifying. It was like 6-month lead time to get the inventory in on top of it. Yeah. So it was horrible.
Well, the beauty of having a web store is that we can just I say we, it's David who's creating. I can come up with the crazy ideas and then David just takes it from there. But the beauty of having a web store is you can create and create and create. And it doesn't cost you anything except your time and effort. And because you don't have to have an inventory, which is beautiful.
You can test.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
So the reason I talk about team and partnerships and all that is that my track record has been absolutely horrible with partners. From the start, I had bad partners. But each one made me smarter. The first guy I partnered with, he made a multi-millions of dollar thing called a shower mic. It was soap on the rope that was shaped like a microphone. So you took it into the shower and you sang in it. Well, the only problem with that was that every prude out there said it looks phallic. You know what I mean? So when they said it looked phallic, it was fabulous because everybody bought it then, But that guy had 2 other partners, and they were, should I say, dishonest. And then I jumped in, which is a mistake I made, to try and save the business because I thought it was great. I thought I could do it. But then I found out the most valuable lesson of all, you can't do a good deal, bad partners. And as both some of those in Rich Dad here, I've had my challenges with partners too. We have one guy, thank God I didn't do a deal with him. Like I'm kind of like Shark Tank. People come and pitch deals to me.
Yeah.
And this one guy pitched me a deal. It looked good, sounded good, but it just felt bad, And thank God I walked away from him. I just somehow the pieces of the puzzle didn't come together. Nice guy, great religious background, good Christian. He family man. He presents all the stuff that says I'm trustworthy. So I'm getting sucked in on that. And thank God it was really hard because the deal looked good and I walked away. So right now he's in court, and we may now see him on American Greed as one of the biggest Ponzi scheme guys around, So that's why I wanted Christina and David to talk about this, because business is only as good as your partnership.
Yep, absolutely.
What kind of agreement do you have as far as your education goes?
I don't think we have an education agreement. Every day is an education when you work here at Rich Dad. So, there's...
How much time do you read, study, and go to courses? That's the question.
A lot.
You've seen my advisors, right?
Yes.
We all study together.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. You guys listening out there, if you have somebody who wants to be a partner, who doesn't want to study and invest time in education, dump them. Dump them now, because what they have is a very limited amount of capacity, of brain capacity. And that was one of the biggest lessons I learned. I have people who are accountants and attorneys and all. Well, I was an A student, but they haven't learned a damn thing since they left school. Yeah. So
I think part of it being partnered up with David is that he works at Rich Dad.
I didn't ask that question. How much does he invest time and money into investing?
No. My point is that him working here, he knows the philosophy. He knows.
Have you taken any courses yet?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, I've done.
Those are the questions I would ask.
Yeah,
action talks around here.
Oh, absolutely.
BS walks.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm pro education. Yeah. I'm just telling you one of the things that I look out for now after all these years. And Chris, you see Kim and I. Are Kim and I always studying?
Always.
Mm-hmm. If your spouse, husband or wife's not studying, dump them. You know what I mean? Because you're going to have problems anyway. So those are types of the questions I ask people. Have you had any challenges yet?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, good. How do you handle them?
You always have challenges. As far as handling, I think it's, communication is obviously very, very important.
That's a big word.
Respecting each other's opinion enough to, even if you disagree with it, to be able to listen and hear it out, and then being able to take your personal feelings about it sometimes out of the situation to be able to make the best decision for the business. So we've definitely, when it comes to design, it's subjective. So there's no right or wrong or good or bad. It's just, it's beauty is in the eye of the beholder a lot of times for design. So sometimes we'll butt heads on that. But ultimately,
David is a saint. I have to say, he's a saint.
Well, he has to be working with you.
Yes, to work with me, he's a saint.
Yeah. So, I'm just speaking from you've had experience with partners, right, Christina?
Yes, absolutely.
And there comes a time in every partnership where the partner digs in.
Yep.
Right?
Mm-hmm, absolutely.
They're like a mule. They will not go any further. And that's when the word, we communicate, that's when it gets really put to the test.
Yeah.
And both people have to bend, in my experience, at that point. But the moment somebody digs in and becomes stubborn, you want to say anything about one of your partnerships?
No. We're moving forward. It's 2017.
Did you learn anything from your last partner?
I learned a lot. I learned every time I do something. Every time I do something stupid, I learn something.
So it was really, for me, Christina's been with me for 12 years. And anytime I did some entertainment, Christina would come in and she would tell me about her last business venture. And she's had and she's very good. I mean, Christina is definitely probably better off on her own. She is so good. She is so good. She is so efficient and all this. But she's big-hearted, and she would take somebody in, an orphan. They're not business partners. They're orphans.
Yes.
So anyway, that's what happens in the real life of business. Have you had experience like that, David?
As far as being orphaned?
No. You have Look, I'm going to tell you something, man. My partners are not partners. I have accountants and attorneys and real estate guys and all. Those are my partners.
Yeah.
I'm very careful who I partner with. So my question is, how much legal experience do you have? How much accounting experience do you have? And those are the questions.
Yeah.
If Christina knows, I play Shark Tank on a regular basis. Mm-hmm. When people come in, I grill them the same way.
Yeah.
Because I've learned. I have scars on my back. It probably cost me $20 million to learn the hard way that you can't do a good deal
with a bad partner.
Yeah.
For sure.
I'm glad you're doing it. I will say this much. Christina is the most brilliant marketing person I know. So I don't doubt they'll make money.
Thank you.
But the question is, can the two of you grow together?
Yeah.
It's like a marriage, right?
Yes.
Yeah, totally.
Okay. Any comments there, David?
Yeah. So, I agree with, what you said in terms of just, you can't do a good deal without a good partner. And
bad partners. With bad partners. That's that. There are bad people out there, David.
Yeah.
Lots of bad people out there. And they don't mean to be bad. They're just inside their DNA, they're bad.
Yeah.
Okay. They just pop up. When people get desperate, when money gets short, when money is on the table, you're discussing budgetary items. Well, what do you expend money on? That's when the demons come out. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay? So that's why you have to get smarter. It's not just about graphic design. You got to be an entrepreneur. You got to be a lot smarter than just a graphic designer.
Yeah.
Christina's excellent at marketing. She's got to get a lot smarter on the other sides of it too.
Yeah.
Okay?
I think that's one good things about our partnership is we both, have wide knowledge. So combining that together.
No, you don't. You're not an accountant or attorney, David. I'd eat you alive out there.
Well, we have people like that on our team.
Good. That's what I want you to say. Those are the things I want you guys to hear.
Yeah.
I can eat guys for lunch because I've been eating for lunch.
Yeah.
Those are the things that we learn in life. So that's why everybody has their talents. But please remember, your education has just begun, and then it becomes what other skills. Like that guy said on the radio this morning, he said the number one thing are who are your 5 most important people you hang around with. Mm. Christina, who do I hang around with?
More than 5 the most important people, but yes, you hang around with your team.
Very smart.
Absolutely.
Highly educated.
Yeah, that's
hard work. Robert, that's where you get to ask me your questions. So you can submit your questions to AskRobert@richdadradio.com. So Melissa, what's the first question?
Our first question today comes from Judith in London. Favorite book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. She says, Robert, I've been doing network marketing for 8 years. I need to build 2 teams in order to earn. However, only one of my teams is growing. My leaders keep telling me to keep going, but I'm scared and frustrated. My family does not support me and thinks that I'm wasting my time. I'm so frustrated. I keep talking to so many people. They tell me they're interested, yet no one gets involved. Should I now try something else?
Well, I think that's a fantastic question, and I give you a lot of credit for sticking it out for 8 years. That tells me a lot about you, because perseverance and determination are skills for being an entrepreneur. I mean, they're not skills, they're traits. They're valued core traits of a person. And the reason I chose this question is because although I'm not in network marketing, and I'm one of the few guys along with Donald Trump that actually endorses network marketing, because, for a lot of people, they think network marketing is a plague. Yet that's because they went to school to learn to be employees or specialists like doctors and lawyers, and they really don't understand what it takes to be an entrepreneur. Being in network marketing is you're learning the fundamentals of what it takes to be an entrepreneur, part-time. I mean, you don't start network marketing. You don't quit your job and start a network marketing business. You want to learn in your spare time. So let me tell you a few of the things that the reason Trump and I recommend network marketing, and congratulations for sticking it out for 8 years, because most people quit before they start. Number one, you learn the most important thing called sales. And you heard, people say, I'm communicating and all that. If you can't communicate, you can't sell. Next is emotional intelligence. The most powerful intelligence. There's 7 different intelligence. One is physical intelligence, a person's natural athlete, musical intelligence, mathematical intelligence. And those guys usually do well in school and stuff like that. But emotional intelligence is crucial for an entrepreneur. In other words, you got to have guts, man. And the reason most people can't stand the network marketing business is they have low EQ, low emotional intelligence. They can't handle that rejection. And what you're doing for